It is about 7:01. I'm going to call this meeting to order and ask that we have an acceptance of the Town of Scituate Board of Selectmen's agenda for July 8th, 2014.
So moved.
Moved
Second.
by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole. All in favor?
Aye.
Good evening, folks. First thing we're going to do is have walk-ins. Is there anybody here for a walk-in? Ms. Burbine, please come on down. Name and address if you don't mind.
Of course. Ann Burbine, 10 Pennycrest Road. I'm here as a resident and a taxpayer. I think that having road races and bike races and all kinds of things are wonderful. It's terrific, it's great. Just please tell us. Tell us what streets are going to be closed. Tell us where the disruption will be. A friend of mine was caught on Border Street a week ago Sunday for an hour. She couldn't move. It was a triathlon or duathlon from Cohasset. We had no idea, none whatsoever. So I think that regardless of what the event is, there really needs to be either published in the paper, through the website. We need to know whether we want to participate or not, what to avoid.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
And I couldn't agree more. I've been involved in those situations myself. And then to add to that, you know, the police officers, they may never have enough. They can't get local ones. And then when they do get them, some of them don't know, you know, how to get around it. Because, like, to Ann's point, there was a situation at Cohasset that I found myself in, and I could have avoided that area, but I didn't know. So I went down, I think it was Atlantic Ave, and drove right into this race, and I was on the wrong side. I mean, there were so many people, and I could have easily gone another way had I known. So
They
to Ann's point.
didn't block the roads per se. They don't put up detours per se.
Right.
And if you're unfamiliar with this town, you don't have a clue
Right.
where you're going. So it's all about, you know my mantra, it's about communication. Please just let us know. They're good causes, and I'm not saying anything negative about the causes, but as merchants, as citizens, we really should be informed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Now, moving on to our second agenda item, actually third, the report of the town administrator. Tricia.
Thank you. Couple of items this evening. First of all, I'd like to inform the board that we're having an assessment center for the lieutenant vacancy created by the promotion of Lieutenant Stewart to chief last September. Given the positive feedback and the results of the assessment center we did for the chief of police, it's my intent to do that for all the command officer positions, hopefully in both public safety departments, but I commend the police department for coming to me and asking for this assessment center for lieutenant after the chief's assessment center. So that'll take place all day Thursday, and hopefully we'll have an announcement of a new lieutenant for your next meeting. We just scheduled today for July 29th to interview 7 candidates for firefighter. We have 3 positions that we are in process of filling. We had to wait an unusually long amount of time to get the certified list from civil service. Folks may think that vacancies go unfilled a long time in the fire department, but we're at the mercy of the civil service department. And when we have more than 2 vacancies, we need an extra long list. Folks have to come and sign it. If they don't come and sign it, we have to request another certified list. So after a lot of hard work by Chief Judge and others, we're finally ready to do that, and those all-day interviews with a panel will be July 29th. There's 2 items that I want to bring to the board's attention. One is that we had the 4th of July observance last week, and as I communicated with you on the 4th, there were no major incidents with bonfires whatsoever. So whether the third time is the charm or folks absolutely got the message the last 2 years, everybody was able to enjoy the holiday, and there were a number of family campfires. There were 9 arrests. 6 of them were for juveniles under the age of 18, and 3 were adults. And as is usually the case, I do not believe any of them were Scituate residents. So now that we have the bonfire issue under control, we will, and have this year under Chief Stewart's guidance and leadership, concentrated on underage drinking. But this enforcement of bonfires, drinking, fireworks is going to continue each year. And we're just stepping up enforcement as a general rule throughout the town in terms of alcohol usage. And the final thing, so I want to actually commend the police and fire departments for all those folks that work so hard. We have every officer on duty for the 4th of July. It costs the town about $12,000 to $18,000 in overtime alone just for the 4th of July. Our population, most folks don't know, increases to 30,000, and it essentially all comes into the town on that weekend, which is why, as you know, we had issues with brown water. With the utilization of such an influx of people, that really takes a toll on our system. Fortunately, the torrential rains that we got that ruined a lot of people's plans helps flush our system quite a bit. So it could have been a lot worse. High heat is also a contributor. The only other issue I want to bring to the attention of the board is the beaches are open and they're being lifeguarded. There's been a marked increase in people who have taken up the sport of paddle boating. And those paddle boats happen outside the lifeguarded area of the beach. However, it was reported to me today that we are getting concerned about people paddle boating in areas that are not safe for them without life jackets, and that if there is an incident, our lifeguards will go in and do what they need to do, but they're very concerned because it's outside the bounds of the lifeguarded area, and that's something that we're going to have to be discussing with the harbor master, the police department, the fire department, and the recreation department as we go forward this summer. So I just wanted to alert folks to that if you think you're at one of our beaches and a lifeguard is going to get to you, just be cautious because it's outside of the lifeguarded areas, even though we will do what we need to do.
On that point, I know that some of my neighbors had made reference about paddleboarding in the harbor and the difficulty navigating with some of the boats. And also, I'm thinking about that, I've seen with kayaking, and I don't think we have anything, do we?
No, we don't have control of the harbor for private entities doing that. Having kayaked in the harbor, you have to have your wits about you with the boater traffic, but no, we're mostly concerned about our lifeguard areas because if somebody gets jammed up, we will go and do what we can. It's just they're out some ways away, and they're concerned when the lifeguards see people paddleboarding with no lifeguards, children that should have life preservers on, those type of things. So.
And as far as the 4th of July, excellent where I was, and the police did a great job. That's great news. You have a comment?
They did an excellent job all the way around, and unfortunately, we get, what was the number, a couple of thousand people that were escorted, like, leaving over the bridge? Is that what the number was?
Yeah, it was over 1,000.
Yeah.
The police
Mostly from
cleared
out
the
of town.
beach at 10:30.
But yeah, all the Scituate people seem to be
Well behaved.
well behaved.
It takes time. You know, we did it a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's just going to take a little more time. And I think once the bonfires, they know there aren't big bonfires, the crowds will diminish a little bit. But there's a lot of homes down there. A lot of people rent for a week and they invite extended family and stuff like that. But no, and I couldn't agree more. In the past, I think the state police have stepped in and helped, and they did not this year, if I'm not mistaken.
State
So-
police, even if we had them on tap, would not have been available at the last minute because they moved the fireworks to the Esplanade.
Right. So, you know, they had their hands full. No, it's nice to hear.
All right, moving on to our first scheduled appointments, at 7:10 discussion vote, one-day outdoor entertainment permit for 622 Hadley Road. Are you
I'm Margie Sullivan, yes.
Good evening.
Good
Welcome.
evening. My niece is getting married August 9th, and the reception is in my backyard. So we will have a DJ until 11 o'clock.
And I think, I was just going to say what Tony would say, and I actually, two things I neglected to say at the start of the meeting. One is the meeting is being slightly recorded, obviously on TV, but also WATD is here. The second is we're missing both Richard Murray due to an unscheduled obligation he had to be at, and the other one was Tony Vignani. The reason I want to state this is Tony Vignani couldn't be here because he's a coach for Scituate's finest 6th grade Little League team. He's out there with a few other members, and they've played at midnight last night. They won, This is at Cooperstown, and Tony generally doesn't always hear, and I just want to make sure that people understand that he is doing a great job for the kids, and so that's where he is. Having said that, I was thinking Tony would ask the question, have you given notice to your neighbors? Your
Yes,
neighbors
I
are aware
did.
of it, because the last thing you want to have is a neighbor turn around and call the
Yeah,
police.
all
and say,
the abutting neighbors have been told and invited.
That's a good way of getting neighbors on board. Sure, I have no questions. Anybody from the board?
No, I was just gonna ask the same thing, the neighbors, and Maggie knows that probably. That's great, have fun. What a nice aunt.
Yes.
Well, then I take a
Motion?
motion, please.
All right, move to approve an outdoor entertainment permit for a DJ at a wedding reception to be held on August 9th, 2014, from 7 to 11 p.m. on Hadley Road.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
See ya.
All right, moving on to the next, which is a discussion interview for fiscal year 2015 board and committee appointments, and it's a continuation. We've done it for the past two meetings. We still have some applications on some of the committees before us, but tonight, is there a Kelly Kosker? Is she here by chance?
John, what about this here? There's a second permit.
I don't have it on my,
Is that one?
Yeah.
Well, then I have to, forgive me, folks, which one? It's 7?
Surprise, yeah. It's
Yep,
right.
no, she's just not here. You can move on to the other John.
What about the, it's not on this amended agenda. Is there another outdoor?
Later.
Oh, later. Okay, don't worry about it. All right, so we're going to move on to the next,
John, there are some other people who could be here.
that's what I was going to say. Who are they? Are they here?
Is there a Robert Glazier here? Yes. Okay. So Robin is applying. for
Robert, come on,
the position of
come on up here.
Assistant
right here.
Robin, good evening. Now, I know we've seen you before,
Yeah.
and I forgot why.
Well, I think last year for the cell tower, and most recently for the Arts Association's application for CPC
Bingo.
funding.
Sorry, just the name I realized, and I apologize. So you're now applied for the Scituate Cultural Council.
Yes.
What would you like to tell the board?
Well, I understand there may be some positions open, so I thought that we've been, for the Arts Association, I'm on the board of the Arts Association, and we've been, for the last few years, applying for grants on that side, and I thought it might be interesting to see how it's done on the other side.
I think, Tricia, you might want to correct me. The Cultural Commission, is it a finite, like a specific charge that they deal with, or, I mean?
They receive applications for money that we get from the state and allocate those funds out. That's what their primary purpose is.
Can they do other things in addition to that? The reason why I mention it is I always feel it's a commission that, or a council that has potential for cultural issues, like the Sister City. I know it's a separate issue altogether, Soucy Brie, but I'm like, it's a cultural event. Can they be augmented to do other things, or?
That I'm not sure about. Perhaps they can. I know their charge from the state is pretty specific, but they might have an offshoot that could deal with those kinds of things.
That was just my
But I'll check and get back to you.
For the council to think about other things other than that narrow issue that they deal with.
Yeah. Well, there's a training, I was going through their website printout, and they require that new members take an online training. So I think that's where you can get, I'm assuming, into the nitty-gritty, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do.
Fair enough. It seems to me like a lot of opportunity potentially, but again.
Yeah, well, they did some, I was just looking at what they did for 2014. And, they did some, there was a lecture series and then some concert series. So it looked like, there was some diversity in what they were doing. There were actually quite a few concerts. But, that lecture series sounds interesting. That was a little bit, maybe expanded from what you might traditionally feel like an arts would be, more like a humanities topic. So, but yeah, I thought, it might be interesting to see if we can, what all we can,
Can do. Well, you've got a firm grasp, it sounds like, on what it does, so I'm very pleased to hear that. Other questions from the board?
Able to make the meetings? Have you attended some so far?
I haven't. I have been in contact with Elizabeth Cranston, who's on, and when they meet, she will contact me and invite me, I guess, if I'm approved, and, let me attend a few and see how it goes.
We will be approving later in the evening.
We will.
Some, yep,
Some.
yep.
And I think you'll probably be one of them. But having said that, I'm not going to prejudge it with the rest of the board. But, well, thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
very much
Thank
for
you,
coming. We
Rob.
really
Thank you,
appreciate
Rob.
that.
Thank you.
Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Is Susan Graham here? Ms. Graham, you come on up to the desk here. Introduce yourself, if you don't mind.
I'm Susan Graham, and I live at 14 Tilden Avenue in Minot.
How are you, Susan?
And you're looking for?
To be included on the CPC. I have an interest in it in town, and I like the whole concept of it. And I thought there was an opening available, so.
Sean?
Can I ask what, as you know, how they purchase land and for different things, what would be your interest as far as, would it be for open space? Would it be for historical? Would it be for recreation?
I don't have any set preferences as far as what the four main goals of CPC are for. I think it's a board that comes to a consensus and then presents to town meeting. I agree with that idea of consensus. So I'm not going into this with anything preconceived.
Okay.
Great. All right.
All right.
I know you've got experience on, what boards are you on right now?
Coastal Coalition.
Rhetorical question, but that's okay. I mean, what do you see, without having a predisposed notion, what do you see as far as needs of the town? I mean, what is your vision?
I think exactly what CPC was, or CPA was set up for, the goals that it was originally set up
Okay.
for in 2000, that it was for smart growth
Right.
in a town, and that there are going to be different needs, various
Sure.
needs that come up as time goes by. And I also understand in the past, the funding may be heavy on one of those four areas, but then it seems to even out with the next year or the next year. And ultimately, it's the town voter who decides what's going to happen.
Exactly. Well, thank you.
Good. Well, thank you very much. We'll
Okay.
be
Thank you, Susan.
I stayed.
actually voting on CPC, not
At our
tonight,
next
but at our
meeting.
next meeting. So just to
Oh,
give you a
okay,
heads
so-
up.
Okay?
Thank you very much for letting me know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Good to see you.
Now, moving on, is Kelly Kosker, or, I'm sure, I think I'm mispronouncing the last name, no? All right. Kosher. Chris Roberts. Chris, good evening.
Good evening. You guys don't have copies of my application, do you? Need a copy?
No, that's fine.
I do.
You do.
Maureen does.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right, Al.
Chris, you're interested in getting on the CPC also? right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Just for we know you, just for the purpose of people in the audience and what, a little
Yeah, I
bit
mean,
about
I've been
yourself and
associated with the
your-
Recreation Commission since about 2004 as a part-time commissioner, then full-time commissioner, now chairman. But, through my interaction with CPC over the years on that commission, I've come to realize what a great asset the CPA has been to the town. And I just feel like I could offer a balanced and equitable approach to how we distribute those funds across the town. And I think that's the goal of the board, is to make sure people qualify, their applications are complete, they meet all the criteria, and then present it to the town at town meeting and let them vote on what they think is proper or improper. I think it's pretty simple. So,
Couldn't agree more. Sean?
Being liaison to recreation, Chris has done a great job.
God bless.
Never, I don't think, ever misses a meeting, and now being chairman runs a very good meeting, and you know, like the others, thank you for stepping up and volunteering your time, and, you know, I appreciate it. Thank you, Chris.
Just to say, Chris, that, I mean, I think you would be a great fit, because I have a particular feeling of recreation. We need to do more in the town for recreation and recreational space, so.
Well, I mean, CPC's been very good to the recreation up till now. We have no complaints.
Right.
But, so I think it's been great. It's been a great asset for us.
Well, the only other thing I was going to say, Chris, is I'm just going to showcase your shirt. It's a Whittles Walk shirt. I like that.
Dumb luck.
Zoom in on it, people. It's a great shirt. Buy them. Other than that, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, we won't be voting on it tonight, but we'll be voting on it at our next meeting.
Understood. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Good night.
Chris.
Michael Gibbons. Good evening. Good evening. Now, you're presently an associate, and you're looking to become a full-time member on the waterways, right?
That's correct, yeah.
All right.
Mike Gibbons, 6 Battlesill Lane, Scituate, resident here in town. Grew up in the town. Worked for the town for a period of years for the harbor master from somewhere around 1987 to 1995, full-time and part-time over the years. Been on the water here in Scituate since I've been a kid, so I know the waters well. I know kind of, you know, the area well, and just want to contribute back to the town itself by helping out to, you know, on projects that involve the waterways, the water, the shoreline, so.
Now, is one opening, Lorraine, forgive me,
Yes.
for the full, okay?
One for the full, yes.
And I've been an associate member for the waterways since 2012.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for almost going on 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years, yeah.
So if Mike gets appointed, that opens up an associate member.
Associate, correct.
Theoretically.
They have a lot of associates, right? It's like an
Yeah, there's a fair number of associates, yeah. I'm not sure the number, but there's probably, off the top of my head, maybe 7 or 8, so.
sounds good to me.
Yeah, no questions for me?
I don't have any. No.
No questions.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Thanks,
But
Mike.
thank
Thanks
you.
for your time.
Yeah,
We will be voting on that tonight, right?
That one,
I think we are, right?
that's fine by me,
Yes.
yes.
All right.
Great.
All right. Let's see, Brian Cronin? Mr. Cronin?
Well, Brian
Brian,
Cronin
you-
compared to the last.
We did. I apologize.
So that's all you have for
That's it.
board and committee.
Unless Kelly came into the room at this point.
No.
I don't think she did.
And
If she does, I don't know what she looks like, but if she does, we'll take her out. Great, how's that sound?
And we might just want to ask if there's anyone else here.
Good point. Anybody else here looking to interview for a position on any boards, commissions? All right, good. All right, folks, that takes care of that agenda item. We're going to move on to the next, which happens to be a discussion vote for an outdoor.
Mr. Chair, point of information, there's a number of other individual appointments you need to make on the attachment that you received this evening starting on page 2, beginning with Dawn Knapp.
Do we want to do that under new business vote?
Do you want to do that under new business? Okay,
I was
you
gonna
can
say
do
we
it.
do it under when we do.
Okay, that's fine.
Don't we have it under, for appointments?
Yep, I don't
Yeah.
know our own agenda. Okay,
Sorry.
nope, my bad.
You guys are
Long
throwing
day.
curveballs left and right. It's only my third meeting into this as chair. I'm like, this didn't happen when Sean was here.
Thanks, Tricia.
All right, now, moving on to the next one, which happens to be at 7:45. We're moving pretty quickly here. Discussion, vote outdoor entertainment license, Riva Restaurant, Kara Tondorf, and Michael.
Yes.
Tondorf.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Tondorf.
How are you?
Tondorf, right?
Yes,
Perfect.
you got it.
Thank
Kara is not here.
All right, now, you're looking for outdoor license. I know you have one indoors,
Yep.
and so you'd like to be able to perform outdoors, correct?
Yes.
Again, forgive me here, what are the hours that you're looking for, Mike?
Nothing past 8 o'clock. This is to draw in early business. We've been doing like 4 to 6, 4 to 7, Fridays and Saturdays. We're going to cut back on Sundays. We have a couple kind of contract agreements with some musicians, so we're going to carry those out through August, and Sundays will be about 3 to 6. So nothing late, slightly amplified acoustic, usually just one solo musician.
reason why I'm asking, and I'm trying to see, forgive me here, because I'm trying to figure,
It's 3 to 9 is what the...
computer. Paperwork was a little easier to get to it.
Page 9 and through
That was
10.
one right there, John?
Actually, I was trying to figure out, because we had outdoor amplification for
The inn at Scituate
TKs,
Harbor and
right?
TKs.
Had to be.
and the inn. And what were the hours that we had there? Is that, I didn't see that. I'm trying to get it here. It's not coming.
I think it was after 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it was. I was here actually when Tesoro applied, and it was like 10 o'clock. But we're not targeting that. We're not looking for a
8
late.
o'clock then, okay.
Yeah,
And
we're
you're
not looking
from-
for.
From Sunday to Saturday, or?
No, we're doing it on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
Occasional Thursdays.
Yeah, because this is basically saying Thursday to Sunday, 3 to 9, which,
Yeah.
So are you looking for like from 12 p.m.? I know you said 3 to 9 or 3 to 6, but are you looking for like anything from?
Sure,
lunch
if there's
to
just some leeway, yeah, 12 to 9, if that works for you.
especially on a weekend day or
Yeah,
something.
but we don't really go, on the weekends, we don't go past 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock,
Why
you
don't
know,
we
because
say 12 to 8?
works for me.
Okay,
So that would
do
be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 12 to 8.
Thursday,
Thursday, yeah,
Thursday, Friday, Thursday through Sunday.
I just had a quick question,
Sure.
as far as the amplification level.
sure.
I've been down there many occasions.
Yeah.
Most times it's been great. There was one occasion where I was driving down through, and all of a sudden, boom, right out of the tunnel, and it's just because of the buildings that have bouncing.
Absolutely, I had a couple, it kind of channels it out.
Yeah, yeah. It was-
I had I have a good relationship with the condo association. I like to check in with them with everything. And there was a couple complaints about it being a little bit too noisy late on Sunday, and I'm going to personally address them.
Yeah. And if
And it's just simple as keeping the volume down. I don't really know in musician terms what that means, but
Yeah.
just keeping it down.
Depends
Plus,
on
I don't
the
want to be blowing away the customers.
People
you know
that
what I
have
mean?
dinner.
Yeah. so-
But like I said, for the most part, it's been excellent. It was just the one time that I noticed that it was very loud, but it's been-
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't
that's
mean to
okay.
interrupt.
No.
All right, so, the reason why I'm also hesitating is, we had this discussion with PKs.
About
the
amplification.
amplification, right?
No amplification.
No amplification, right?
But it was acoustic. Is that what we
It's all
determined?
It's all the same.
All right. Can I just, if you're thinking,
Well, that's why I only raise it, because I'm trying to be consistent for all the
Right.
merchants and say, hey, look, what's good for one should be good for the other, unless it becomes a problem, then we have to address that specific
So-
issue. So that's what I'm saying. Hold on, Mike. Sean?
no, I was just gonna say, Mike, I'm all for, everything to make a go of it, but you're in such a unique spot, and I'm not saying I'm against it. I hope maybe, you maybe did some homework and notified the abutters and so forth, and, to get their feelings on it, where they're just so close. It's almost like the north end there where you are, That's my thing. I don't live right beside it, so I'm all for it. But at the same time, people have to, if this is Thursday night, they have, Friday's a regular work, and even on the weekends, you want to respect their quality of life, and if you didn't, then, your business would suffer. But then, like I think Tony has said in the past, if the neighbors, if we were to grant this and the neighbors come to us, then, we'd have to call you in and do something different,
And I'm up for that. I mean, I think I kind of, make my own bed. I have notified the neighbors. I had notified the condo association, the head of the condo association, and and I know that I'm the one who suffers if we get it taken away. So I'm gonna monitor it and.
Well, again, we're back to the definition of acoustic. Again, I've been down there, and music's been great. It hasn't been too loud, like I said, except for that one time. So, again, we're back to the definition of acoustic versus amplified music.
Well, if I might add, if acoustic, I mean, does that mean no microphone? Because usually the acoustics are plugged into the microphone
People are
amp.
singing.
Yeah, so,
My impression, okay, or my interpretation of amplification is anything that's used via a amp, which includes a microphone, which includes a plug-in guitar, to amplify it, to increase it, okay? This was a discussion we had kind of got into with TKs. And I think the board was trying to search out and come to a conclusion that acoustic is just taking a guitar or something that's right there and performing without amplifying it. And I'm not sure if that's actually how we ruled with TKs. But why I raise it is because I think we said no amplification for them, but I think Tesoro has amplification, which is why I'm raising it now, because we, as a board, need to address this and get it across the board.
I can clarify that.
Good, thanks.
Great.
None of them say no amplification,
Okay.
and I'll be happy to read you what they say. I'll look it up.
All right.
Slightly amplified was the term that,
The
that,
term that was approved by the Board of Selectmen for Tesoro's and was acoustic music and singing.
I thought,
Okay.
that's what I thought.
And what was agreed to at the meetings and was in the minutes was exactly that. It didn't say anything specifically regarding the amplification, except you spoke to the businesses regarding your concern with the amplification.
Inside amplification's permissible because that's what's on your license.
And the indoor
But
license.
the outdoors, we've staked out acoustic to try to, I don't want to say downplay, but to rule out the amplification. So that's why I'm just giving you fair warning. I did see a hand in the audience. Is anybody like to speak? I need your name and your address.
My name is Margaret Laughlin. I live at 1 Mill Wharf. I live directly over Weavers. And is Mike, is this
It's Mr. Tondorf, yep, Mike.
I want to be a good neighbor, and I think that, you know, him putting music acoustically, or even with the amplifier is okay. It's the hours that I'm concerned with, and it's also the volume of the music and the loudness that comes out of the bar area. And that's the piece that I'm concerned with. I think that it's a good idea. I think it's great for business for him, and I want him to succeed. I just want to be aware that there's a neighbor right above him who hears everything that comes out of that building. And to be concerned with this. The only reason I stepped up is I did get the notification from the condo association. I traveled in last night. I got it late last night, so I did notify Fran of my concerns with the time of it. Thursday night, I'm still on the clock, so 8 o'clock I won't be there. But you know, it's the volume that comes from the entertainment that's after that as well that can be an issue.
That we're not addressing. That would be for entertainment on the inside for his next license. This is just strictly for the patio area, if I'm not mistaken, right?
yes, sir.
But the timing right now, it's Thursday through Sunday,
We'll do
I
12
think
a.m.
up to 8 o'clock PM, and then it shuts down.
That's
And then 12 is what we were saying. I only said that because you have I think, brunch, or
Gives
you
you
do
the
things
opportunity
Sunday
in
or
the
Saturday. I'm
afternoons.
thinking, if you're going to have an outdoor guitarist out there, that might be a nice amenity for your business, but it's up to you. Anybody else want to talk about it?
I just have a question. This is, so somebody with a guitar who's playing and singing, I don't understand how they're singing at all without some kind of a microphone. That's where I'd like to clarify. I mean, I don't see how you can sing at all without some sort of a microphone.
Oh, you can. I mean,
No, you can't
just
hear it. You're
can't
not-
hear maybe on the other end. It's just,
No, I'm just saying, because I have been to a few of the establishments now as we've granted the licenses, and they've seemed to be okay, and they are using a microphone, but it's not like it's blaring. It's some
I
kind
think
of...
the board's intent was, for amplification is when the guitar is plugged into a speaker,
Correct.
not necessarily the microphone.
Right.
So
So
we
from
wanna-
what I've seen down there, it seems like it's within the limits of what we were trying to get to. And I don't really see a problem with it.
well, you know, the thought is,
See what happens.
see, again, I've always said this, it's a business district, which means people who live there and people who work there have to conform. But we're not going to constrain businesses from trying to do stuff that's going to be hopefully for their benefit. But if it becomes a problem, a big problem, like things in the past, then
We'd have
people
to
come back
talk.
before us and we address it. So if it does, like we did with TKs and Tesoro, if it becomes a problem, we'll talk about it next time. So, I mean, anyway, any other questions?
Just so I have it straight, so what Lorraine was saying, this suggested motion is okay, just drop the light amplification from the suggested motion.
The
And
motion would be move to grant an outdoor patio entertainment license for acoustic guitar music and singers.
Right. Right,
That's exactly what we did for Tesoro.
right. And Mike, I think we just have to be consistent. I mean, the good thing is, it's a small area, so I think the people dining out there will hear it that much
Much
better.
easier than, certainly than TJ's.
You know,
or something.
and let's start there, you know, and then we have to be consistent, you know? I mean,
I'm kind of confused with what, I mean, is it no amplification, or is it, I'm just,
What we've done is we said with a microphone you can do it. Okay, my impression, forget my impression. Microphone, speaker, vocalist, that's fine with a guitar, but the moment you take the guitar and you plug it into an amp to perform, that's not permissible, okay? So, does that clarify?
Still confused.
it's still confusing. I mean, I guess, you know, that's gonna have to do. It's just different than my interpretation of other places. But I mean, I guess that's your ruling. I don't know.
Here's what I would say. Try it this year, okay? We maybe could put on an agenda item in the new year and ask the restaurants like yours to come in and say, okay, how'd it go? What's the problem? Are you telling us that you really want to have an amp with, you know, like TK's wanted to have, I think it was, what do you call them?
4 or 5
Drums, the, you know, the steel drums, that's what they wanted. But we said, no, it'd be too noisy. So that's why I'm saying we're trying to be consistent with everybody here. But maybe we should just have a gathering at some point with everybody and say, how'd it go? What would you like? Would you prefer to have something different? And then how do we address it there? But at least this year, you get music outdoors and testing.
So it is amplified, but no guitar amplified. Microphone amplification, no guitar amplification. Is that?
I
That's
guess
what we've done.
microphone amplification would be.
Yep.
That's what we've
correct.
done with Tesoro and with TK's. So, so that's what we're looking at. This is not inside. Inside, you got your own situation, but it's the outside.
Okay.
Any further
Do you want
discussion?
me to attempt it?
go ahead, Marty,
Yeah,
or
'cause I
I
don't
will,
have it
it doesn't
in front of
matter.
Okay.
I have it.
Okay. Vote to approve an outdoor entertainment license for Riva Restaurant to offer acoustic singer with microphone with guitar on their patio from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Thursday through Sunday.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Moving on to the next agenda item, which is a discussion vote, short-term borrowing from stabilization. Pam Abitovli, our treasurer collector's here.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How
All
are you?
right.
So, on the April 14th, 2014 annual town meeting,
Yep.
Article 5R, School Technology, Phase 1 of 3, was authorized in the amount of $200,000 to borrow for the capital improvement plan for FY15. So Paul Donlin, the business administrator at the school, has asked me to borrow that money. He needs it now. So we can borrow against the stabilization fund. And then in September, when we do our big borrowing, we will include that with that.
Good.
If it's okay with you guys?
Questions from the board?
And then the 200 goes back to stabilization.
When we borrow the money.
This is good. It's going to be the technology component for the first phase. It's good for the school.
First of 3 or 2? I
Three.
forget. 3, that's what I thought. 3, and it'll be each year, probably?
Part of the capital plan.
No, but phase 1 will be in year 1, phase 2 will be the
Fiscal
next year.
15, fiscal
Okay, all right,
16.
okay.
Unless they do something at special town meeting.
And I can't recall, it's 200, 1/3, so was it a $600,000?
$1,000 that came from the levy.
All right, okay. That's it, I'm good. Motion?
Any questions?
Nope.
All right.
Move
I'll
that the
accept
Board of
motion.
Selectmen approve the sum of $200,000 from the stabilization fund to be used for Article 5R, the School Technology Phase 1, authorized at the April 14th, 2014 annual town meeting as permitted by the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole. Discussion, seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Pam, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Pam?
Moving on to our next agenda item, discussion vote, contract award. Kevin Cafferty, Acting DPW Director, medium duty dump truck, Kenilworth Northeast Group. All right, so we're looking at Tonka toys here.
It's an exciting one, as always.
Expensive ones.
We went out to bid for, in capital, we're replacing one of our six-wheelers. We went out to bid for a medium to heavy-duty truck that will do plowing, hauling gravel, asphalt, whatever else we need. And this is for the chassis of the truck. And we had 3 bidders on it, and that's pretty much it.
It's just the chassis, Kevin?
Correct,
It's not the body?
correct.
So you're taking the chassis, taking the body of like the frame of the truck and then putting this on top of it, and that's what it is?
And then they'll put the dump body and everything else on it, yes.
But we're not going to reuse an old one. We'll go out and get a new one, right?
We'll get a new one, yes, but we didn't put it as a whole package because the truck suppliers don't necessarily
Right, do that.
do that all. And then what we'll do is, once we get the truck, we'll have the truck, then we can go out to bid for the, to get the dump body on it and all the other miscellaneous stuff that we need on that truck.
Any further questions?
I was talking to Kevin about this. He had asked me, I have trucks similar to this. They have automatic transmissions. They're made of aluminum and fiberglass. They're very easy to drive. Should be a 20-year truck, if I'm not mistaken. If we get 20 years out of the internationals we have now, could be 25 years.
When we put this truck out to bid, the specs, it says a medium-duty truck, but it's actually what we requested is it's a heavy-duty engine, a heavy-duty Allison transmission. As Sean said, it's an automatic transmission, and it's actually a heavy-duty frame. It's more like a 10-wheeler frame, so that we have it for the long run. It's more of a durability instead of a smaller 6-wheeler. So it's a medium-duty, but it's a heavy truck for that size. And I think I included the bid packages in with this and everything that we had.
So is it actually a Kenilworth truck?
Kenworth.
Or
Kenworth,
Not
yep.
Kenworth.
It is.
Ready?
Nope.
Take a motion?
Motion? Move that the Board of Selectmen award the contract for a medium-duty dump truck to Kenworth Northeast Group for $95,358.
Second?
Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris. Discussion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Why I'm up here, and I thought it was going to be on the agenda, but I could update the board on what's going on with the water projects if you have any interest in that or where we are with them.
No, yeah, please.
In water restrictions and the like. We've been having some brown water issues, as I'm sure many people are aware. Part of the problem is, an email blast went out recently, is the increase in population, usually around July 4th. It causes a lot of increase in water usage and everything else. It's not necessarily because we have all the contracts are going on. We are disrupting the water system, but we're actually doing pretty good. The contracts are moving along well. And I'll run through where we are on the water project so you understand. We completed about 900 feet of water pipe, 8-inch water pipe on Woodland Road. That's all paved, and it's all set for now. Eventually, we're going to be repaving that road. That's on the highways list to complete. Glades Road and Tilden Ave, we've completed 2,625 feet of 8-inch cast iron pipe that we just put in, ductile iron pipe. And that includes hydrants and everything else. That's all complete, and that's all paved also. So both those projects worked out very well. On Front Street, we have completed a lot of the main line, all on the side streets on there. The main line's all complete, and we're starting to remove some of the temporary services, and people are on the new line. We're working with a couple service crews in there now, trying to get everything up and completed as soon as we can. In a perfect world, we would have everything completed in that area and paved by Heritage Days. That's our goal. I can't promise anything yet, but we're pushing the contractor along as fast as we can to keep things moving. Contractor is just about completed. He's got about 40 feet left on Meeting House Road, and then he's going to be jumping over to Porter Street, and then eventually he'll be going to Greenfield. And then probably right around August 1st, he'll be going out to Country Way. So that's the way it's looking. We've been using our sign with a lot of success to warn people on where the areas are going, when the work's happening, and that's worked out really well. The contractor around the lighthouse he's completed the main line that goes around the lighthouse, so that's all new pipe, and he's starting to run the services down now over to the individual houses. He will be doing some of the paving tomorrow in the main section before it gets to the circle area on Rebecca and Lighthouse, but he's going to pave that first section and hopefully clean up that area, which will be nice. And then from there, he will start moving on. His mainline crew will eventually be moving on to Ann Vinyl Road. But I want him to finish up that whole area before he makes that jump. But we're looking in that time frame to get into Ann Vinyl because we want to do it while the kids are out of school. The other thing I want to mention to you, we are having problems with the brown water. One thing that could alleviate some of the brown water problems that we're having is going into full restrictions on the water restrictions. So instead of doing 1 day a week for the irrigation system, is eliminating that to the hand watering and going to full restrictions. That will take some of the burden off the brown water and off the plant.
And this is a subject for another agenda, which is why it's not on your agenda this evening.
Okay. Fair enough.
John?
Are you done, Kevin? I just said, Dan Taylor from Rockland Trust had contacted us today, and I said that he should probably call the contractor, look for him, or call you. I gave him your number. When they ran the temporary pipe down, they would put some asphalt on either side of it to either as a trip hazard or to hold it in place. I don't know which, but I think they removed the pipe, like you said, but some of the material's still there. So if you think of it, especially in the business district there, it's probably already taken care of. And on that note, Charlie Curran from the fire department told me how wonderful they were. He lives on Hazel, and another resident out on Lighthouse Point said, how good these contractors were. They work fast and, keep the disruption to a minimal. It's a tough job, especially between Memorial Day and Labor Day, to keep everyone in a seaside community like this happy. So they have to move fast. And
If people have concerns, call the DPW office,
right.
545-8732. Get a hold of us, and we can act on it pretty quick.
Well, that's what I had told Dan.
We did have some issues at the point with people having, especially when people had people over because they wanted to extend their parking in different areas like that. We've been able to work that out pretty well so far, and we have been pretty happy so far with the contractors.
I couldn't agree more, Kevin. The sooner you get a temporary patch down, and that's all it is temporary, it's just going to keep the dust down. It's not going to be, a finish coat, and it's going to have valleys, and it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to keep the dust down, and that's going to be so important.
And in the Front Street area, we've been applying a lot of calcium chloride to keep the dust down and keep that out of there.
Right.
So
Saw that.
it seems to be working okay.
Good. Nope, that was all I had.
Just, again, that they've been great. They really have been great. The Rockland Trust issue is kind of an important one because it's actually by the steps walking up into the bank. And I think everything has been removed, but the mound is still there, and I think they've got
Elderly
cleared.
people, it's just, no one wants someone to get hurt.
Liability. Anyway. Kevin, thank you.
No problem.
Appreciate it very much for the update.
Yep, and it is liability. It does fall on the contractor, but we will definitely talk to him and make sure we clear it up. I know on 4th of July, before that weekend, we walked all the sites with them and made them clean everything up, but it is possible we missed an area in front of the bank, and I'll look into that.
Might have been in the middle of it, too. Who's to say? I mean, it could be done by now, but...
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, moving on to our next discussion, library project update and fundraising report. Jesse Finney, Library Director. Good evening.
Hi.
We're a little bit earlier than what we projected, but we're moving right along.
Great.
We can't win, yeah,
No,
no.
you can't. I have no problems being early. I just don't like being late.
I have with me Gary Marcus of the foundation.
Thanks. They have this too, but it's easier to read hard copy, Jesse. Thank you.
And I apologize, this isn't the clearest copy.
It's clearer than's on our tablets.
My glasses are good, so don't worry.
I can't read it.
I'm sorry?
I'm WHED, would like one of them.
Okay, so I'm here tonight. I apologize if some of this you already know, but I did want to just sort of run through some of the things that have happened since the vote. In February, we received our first payment of $1 million approximately from the state. And our next payment, I put on the back of this document the milestones for the MBLC. And the way the payment works they're based on the milestones that we hit during the process. And the next milestone would be when final construction documents are approved. The deadline for that milestone is May 1st of 2015. This handout that I've given you is from our new project manager, and it sort of lists everything up until the move out of the library and the signing of the contract with the general contractor. And that is now anticipated to be between mid-March to mid-April would be the move out of the current library into temporary quarters.
I'm sorry to interrupt, do you have a spot?
That's what I was going to say. Do you have a
Well, that's on my list.
Okay.
So right now we're examining a few different options. Daedalus Projects, Daedalus was hired to be our project management firm. Richard Marks is the president. Joe Sullivan is our actual project manager. I'm sure he'll be coming here with me to update you guys at some point. And he's been helping me with the temporary space. There are two things that we're really looking at right now that are the best solutions that have presented themselves so far. One is a space in Curtis Plaza. This is actually over the town line, right over the town line in Cohasset. The MBLC is fine with that. They understand the restrictions that we face in town with very limited commercial real estate property. They wouldn't want us to go much further than that. And so we're looking to negotiate right now on the cost of the space. And what the project manager is doing is he's asked me to sort of design basically what I would envision the space to look like, and he's gonna cost that out to see what that would be like for us. He's also going to cost out trailers. He thinks that it could actually be done on the library's property, perhaps sectioning off a piece of the parking lot, and so we'd have a smaller parking lot. I would obviously have a much smaller space, and so again, he's looking at the cost of what that would be as well. So those are the two main things that we're looking at right now. Not a whole lot else has presented itself, so those are the best options right now.
Marty?
Just a quick question, Jesse. As far as have you got a chance to look at the space in Curtis Plaza?
Several times.
Yeah. Does it look like it would work as far as, I don't know what the, I'm pretty sure where you're talking about. How many square feet is that?
So it's two different spaces. So we're really looking at getting two of the spaces.
Right.
One is Party. I don't know if you guys ever. And then the other was the old Nobles camera place.
Okay.
That space is a little over 5,000 square feet. The other is about 3,800 square feet. Very unusual layout for that space if you've ever been there. It has a very long hallway. We envision teens and children's in that space and adult services in the bigger space. There's actually a space in the back of that could be built out for offices. Really nothing is perfect or ideal about these spaces, but there's good parking. It's slab on grade, which for us is important because of the weight requirements for us. So it has a lot of pluses. I think the biggest minus is it's not in Scituate, of course.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah, I think, forgive me if I asked this last year, or maybe I didn't, I don't know. I remember when I was in law school up in Vermont, some buildings that burnt down, and they ended up putting down in the space, like on the street, was basically like a huge igloo with like cement, almost like Jersey barriers to keep it and support it. And they kept it while they were building the new building. And it was on the pavement, so there wasn't an issue about support. it wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing, but it was only temporary. Is there any ability to do something along that line to
I
be
could
able to
talk to the
save
project
as opposed to?
manager.
And I say that because then you're going to say, well, where could you put it? The one area that I thought of was North Situate, where the WPA building is, because that's our parking lot, we own it.
Okay.
So you'd have ample parking there. It's never used with the MBTA. You have the WPA building, which is also another amenity maybe that you can incorporate with something, kids reading or something. It's a great building. But long and short of this, is that a possibility? Or at least if you're looking at modular,
Yeah, I think
you get that parking lot, it's huge.
I think the modular units is something that he's exploring. It's kind of, the trailers are sort of the modular units, and it's really going to come down to the expense. What's the best deal for the town and what works with the budget that we have in place. So that's what he's doing right now. He's costing out either of those options. The parking lot, I don't know, maybe that's something Tricia and I could talk about later. I don't know a lot about that space, so.
If the cost is cheaper to rent, obviously across our boundary lines, then I guess that's acceptable. That makes sense. But if it's cheaper with modular, or like I said, this kind of like igloo concept, it's a gigantic white thing, it's a temporary solution. I'm just curious.
Right.
Must have been cheaper than doing modular or something like that.
Do they have those around here?
Well, in Vermont they had them, I can tell you. It's not that far away. It's not that far.
Gonna look like what the DPW
It's probably
has.
cheaper, I can tell you, yeah.
Jessica, I just want, what time frame is this temporary housing gonna?
How long will we be
Yeah, how
here?
long will we be there?
The project is set to take about 14 months.
Okay.
So we would probably need about, a month on each end to move in and out. But I actually talked to the project manager, and he does not think that we will need to close necessarily, maybe a day or so, but he actually thinks that we can open the space and close the other space without interrupting the service to the town.
The other thing I noticed with your scheduling here, from the design, looking to close or be out of the library presently, it looks like in the end of April of next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any ability to delay that? I don't want to say, the shovel's in the ground, delaying that, but because of school and the kids are using it to the end of the school year, so at least you're looking at June, or at least the beginning of June.
We can't delay, well, I won't say we can't. It's very unlikely that we can delay past May. That's our next milestone that we need to hit. So a shovel needs to be in the ground by May in order to get our next payment from the MBLC. I suppose we could talk about going for an extension. We do have some ideas to alleviate some of those issues with the schools. We've talked about doing sort of floating collections where we would actually take the research collections to the schools and allow them to check them out on site. We're about to have the ability to do mobile checkouts with the software that we use at the library. So we do have some sort of ideas about ways to keep the service as fluid as possible. And certainly we're aware of all of the projects. We're actually trying to coordinate with some of the curriculum coordinators to make sure that we know exactly when these project deadlines are, so that we can really, make sure to provide that service.
John?
Just a rough idea, what is it gonna cost? What, did you say 8,000 square feet, 5 and 3? If we were to go to the Curtis Plaza?
Curtis, well, they have quoted us.
I won't hold you to it, but.
We want to negotiate because we don't feel like this is the price that we're comfortable with,
Right.
but 15 per square foot per year. But that also does not include, we would have to pay for any build out, and we would also have to pay for utilities and things like that.
Probably a triple net, at least.
Exactly,
right?
yep.
Yeah.
So we don't feel like that's the best deal for us, but that's something that the project manager is going to be working with the property manager on.
So when's the ultimate decision going to be made then?
I believe he's going to present those cost options to the Public Building Commission. Probably not at our next meeting because that was the next thing that I wanted to talk about. We're going to be interviewing architects at our next meeting, but possibly the meeting after that. And I would definitely be, passing all of that along to Tricia or Ed Wood. And so I did want to mention that the architect interviews are going to be held on July 21st at the library, starting at 6:30 p.m. 3 candidates were shortlisted, Feingold, Alexander, Johnson Roberts, who provided the original schematics for the project, and Odin's Ello. And the top choice from that meeting, or the top choices, will be given to Tricia for final approval and contract negotiation.
And Jess, that was a total of 16 proposals you received? I can't, or,
We only received 9 proposals.
oh, 9, I can't keep
Yeah.
them all, okay.
I think we received that
16
many
for the other,
project
first, the
manager.
OPM,
Yeah.
yep.
We were hoping to get a few more. I think it was a pretty tight deadline, so that may have discouraged some of the applicants. I think that's it, other than the fundraising update from Gary, unless you have additional questions for me.
Very curious to hear that.
Sean?
I just, $15 a square foot, if it's 8,000, it's $120,000 a year. That doesn't include any moving costs or anything like that.
We have a separate budget for moving. So the budget that we have for moving is after actually a pretty comfortable budget from what the MBLC has told me and from what the project manager has told me. I think we have 80 or 90,000. I think it's 80,000 budgeted for the move itself.
I have to say this, and it might not be popular, but some people are gonna ask, what about Pier 44? I know there's a lot going on there and stuff, but you know, we're in this together. People, this is an important project. Saves a lot of money, saves $120,000.
Actually, I did.
The move is the move.
I did it.
So the cost of the rent is in the grant. So that is why it's important to negotiate the price, because there's a limit in the amount that's provided by the grant. That's not the town's dollar.
Right, so we get grant money for rent, okay, to help offset the rent or pay?
Well, it's all rolled into the overall cost of the project.
Right.
Okay. Well, I should think they would reward us if we were being fiscally responsible. I mean, am I right?
If that money wasn't spent for certain earmarked parts in the grant, then they could make a request to spend other surplus funds in other ways.
Well, the reason that's important, because you said it was 3,800, 5,000, so it's almost 9,000, so it's 88. I did the numbers, it's 132,000. So that's a lot annually for 2 years, plus the move cost, plus that doesn't include the taxes or the electricity, which granted that would be probably offset if it were on a town property, at least not the taxes, but at least the electricity, utilities.
So your minimum square footage, I believe, is it 5?
That's
So what do
kind
you
of the
need?
minimum that
The
I'm
minimum
looking
square
for.
footage is 5. All of Pier 44, Scituate Harbor Community Building is 7,700. It would displace several things that are going on in there. We have offices, we have given the Council on Aging exclusive use, and the Recreation Department programming. That being said, if the board was serious about that, then it would be an acceptable use.
How much space do we have downstairs here? I know it's all a mess, but I'm also just saying, if you're going to displace, at least it can be,
Kevin's gone. I have no idea.
all right, just a
It
thought.
must be 5,000, isn't it?
Even if it's
50
3
by
or
100 or
displace,
something.
we might be able to put here temporarily until,
You need
Just a matter of
to
logistics.
provide a bathroom, and it would need to be HP accessible, which it is not now. So the reuses that we're looking at for this building is to put the server down there and non-public offices that don't have pedestrians, such as the IT department and the accounting suite.
Yeah, but you have to have ADA compliancy with
That
wherever you
is,
go.
that is one of the stipulations of the grant. It does have to be, whatever facility we're in has to be ADA accessible.
Where
Pier
the
four-
Curtis
Pier
building would.
44 is ADA accessible.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
the Curtis buildings would
Yeah.
be as well.
Yeah.
well, the reason we're saying is because we got the doorway downstairs and you got the driveway here. So potentially, I'm just saying, if you look at the big numbers and you say spending all this amount, is there an ability to use a portion of it? Be cheaper, and I agree with Sean.
Well, I mean, not to fluff it off, and I don't want to delay the project, but, you know, would we be killing 2 birds with 1 stone? If we could make improvements to the basement, And then when the library's done, and even if it was a portion, Jesse, then we do whatever we do to improve it, and then when the library's back at the library, we have it. I don't know, I don't want to be
I agree with the thought. No, just
yeah.
exploring, just looking out, thinking outside the box. There's a lot of space downstairs, it's all storage. There are windows too, and you got, but anyway, all
I
right.
think our project manager would be willing to explore whatever it is the board wanted him to explore. Again, he would probably do the same sort of thing and cost out any retrofitting that would need to be done to the space or anything like that.
So what I'm hearing from the board is three things. One is to look at the space at the North Scituate parking lot, look at the Scituate Harbor Community Building, and visit the space down here.
Okay.
Yeah, just to see.
Definitely. I'll be passing all of that along to him.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Okay, the Library Foundation continues obviously with our fundraising efforts, and the last couple months have been the time we've been building up the board. We've added 5 new people to the board. We've also had a change in the president. John Kalopoulos, who's been here before you, has stepped down, although he's continuing on the board. He's been the president for 5 years. And Les Ball, who's been the chair of the fundraising committee, is now our new president. As we look out for the rest of this year, our major, we're obviously in the fundraising role, but the Heritage Days has always been an opportunity for us to get our message out, to hand out brochures and flyers and talk to people, and we again will be doing that. We have our major, this year's major fundraiser is going to be held at the River Club in October, so we're looking forward to raising some good money there. And on top of that, our 1,000 Homes project that we've talked to you about, we want to get 1,000 homes in Scituate to give us $1,000, obviously $1 million. That's our main effort right now. That's where we really want to push that for the rest of this year and certainly on next year. But that seems to be an area where people can accept that. They can pay us $1,000, they can pay us $20 a month for 4 years. We'll structure however they want to do it. So we're hoping to gain some more momentum with that. As you've heard before, General George Casey is still involved with us. I understand he's working on some large accounts for us. I don't have much detail there, but that's still an ongoing effort. We've met with 2 or 3 of the local banks, and we're awaiting response from 2 at this point, and hoping those will be a decent contribution. And that's about it.
Do you have like a financial to go?
Yeah. The number we have, our total right now is approaching 700,000. It hasn't grown a lot probably since the last time, maybe 50,000 over the last time.
That was going to be, I was going to say, they sent you, Gary, because the question I was going to ask is the one Marty used, which is, how much has the foundation been able to raise since the last time we were here? And I only say that because when this first came before us, and I said it to the board, they only raised 500, 600, whatever it was, yeah. And actually, I'm not even sure what the exact dollar amount that was put in. These were just on, what do you call it? Not requests, but
estimates, or
no, people are going to contribute.
Pledges.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
right.
Neither that word. The problem is that I think the town has to understand that they're funding this full board. Hopefully, the library can come up to the number that they thought they were going to 2 years ago. And
I mean, our goal is still the $2 million.
But
it's doable. But we need more than the $10,000 or the $1,000 homes thing. We need some large contributions from some bigger players and some corporations, and we're working on those.
I say that because I think it was Les who said, as soon as we get this passed, the money's going to be running in with the contributions, and we're now in July, and it's passed in December, and that's what I'm saying. How much? Where's the money? How much is there? But please keep us informed on that. It'd be nice to hear that there are some major contributions.
Yep.
Any other questions? Anybody else? Anybody in the audience have any questions? Jess, what's the next plan of attack then? You're going to be back in front of us in about September after you've met with
You will be awarding the contract for the architect.
Yes. And I'll absolutely keep you posted about that. I don't know if you guys would want to meet the architect, or...
But they're going to be doing the plans that were, the schematics that were designed as a part of the application process. Right?
That may not necessarily be the case.
Oh, really?
That's why we went out to bid.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see the designs. No offense. It just seems like what was proposed and what's built there and really what the town is about. There are three different options here, you know?
Because when we originally did the feasibility, it was 2009, I believe. So things have changed, and Jess, I know, has had some good ideas. So we want to just make sure what we build is still current with what we thought when we envisioned it almost 6 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I would. I don't know what the board's preference. I would like to know that.
Okay.
Jess, what do you envision this library to be built for? 10 years, 20, 50 years? Like Superintendent McCarthy, when looking for designs and ideas for the new Gates School, they, built it, with the educational purpose first, and then built the building to fit around that. A lot of interior glass walls and stuff like that. Have you listened or seen to any of his presentations on the new gates as far as that goes?
I haven't. I've spoken to him about the project, but no, I haven't, and I've seen the current designs.
Right. I just thought of it now.
Well, I think for us, flexibility is very important. Flexibility in the space, because libraries are changing rapidly. We also, really want to have additional meeting space. We're hearing, one thing that we're hearing from the schools, and we're sort of taking that and reflecting it in our design, is small meeting spaces and places for studiers is very important, because I believe that, they're thinking about potentially having kids, the older high school level kids, maybe working outside of the high school, doing small group work. We really want to have some really good technology in place so that people can collaborate. We have a lot of people who are, now coming to the library because they may work from home, they may be consultants, it's a space for them. So we want to make sure to provide a lot of that. Right now we have, almost no electrical outlets. It's very important for us to make sure that we have a space that provides for all of that. But for me personally, flexibility is very important with the space, because if we, decide to change a service 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, I want to make sure that the library can accommodate that.
Perfect. And I know you have, because you've mentioned before, even with the elderly, with the central school there, but also catering to their needs for their vision of the library too.
Right, absolutely. And of course, we're there for everybody. So really, one thing that the library is probably going to be doing in the next year or so is working on a long-range plan. This is a requirement of the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners. We have to do one every 5 years. We've delayed ours because of the project. But one thing that involves is community meetings and a board of community members. If you have any suggestions for anyone who might want to, but we will be pulling from all of those different groups, and they'll help inform us about the services that they want to see us provide. So it's not about what we think, it's about what they think.
Good. Any other questions?
No.
Folks, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Jesse, thank you very much. All right, moving on to our next 8:40 discussion, vote, ambulance abatements. Chief, or Judge, Chief, how are you?
Excellent. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Oh, thanks for seeing me.
So we have to do some abatements.
Yeah. Well, a
Long-standing
little history
stuff.
on this, though. There was the end of 2013. I came before the board we were going to write off everything 10 years prior and back. And Comstar, our billing company, when they keep the bills for 10 years in their records, and anything over 10 years they archive. So when I wrote to them, told them to abate from December 31st of 03 back, they only did from January 1st, 03 to December, they only did 03. and there was like $160,073 that was prior to '03. So technically, you've already voted to abate that money. And what I'm coming, there's a total of, between January 1st, '04 to December 31st, '07, there's $10,387.67 in those 3 years of uncollected receivables.
So it's only 10,000?
Yep, in those 3 years.
It's not 126?
Got 100.
Well, it's 126, but it's you already voted on that previously to abate that in last year when I came before you. But it was a technicality, because when they went to write it off, they didn't have it in their records, because anything over 10 years old, they archive it.
Okay.
And so when they deleted it, the archive never got deleted.
So as a point of order, however, just so we don't have to do this again, I would vote the motion that you have in front of you, just as a double check.
Cover everything.
Because I remember we did a couple of last-minute things when they came in 2013 too, there was a bigger amount and we halved it and stuff like that, you know, assuming what the chief said is true, and I have no reason to doubt that, just in case we have to do something else, you've already double done it.
Makes sense.
I think it makes sense.
So let's double up and get it done right. Not
Yeah.
that it wasn't done right, just that we including Comcast didn't do it right.
And I should say, this is something that's been in the audit for a few years, and Chief Judge has been working on it, and our new accountant has been very receptive to it, so we're finally getting it done.
Good. Question, Sean?
This won't happen again, or may not happen again, because what we did a meeting or two ago, my short-term memory is failing me.
That was the last
already.
meeting.
All right, yes, so,
So you will see them.
we changed the billing.
You will see them twice a year, but they will only be
Correct.
for a very small bookended period of time. And you will abate them, so we clear them regularly.
Question.
Marty, I apologize.
So when you say twice a year, Tricia, for instance, what period back would that go for the first time?
2 years, right?
Well, the policy
Two, right.
that you voted on at the last meeting is 24 months.
Right.
Okay.
Your review, because after 2 years, they're on the books as receivables, but you really don't, you're not going to get any.
Well, that's where I'm confused. So if we go back 24 months, why would we be doing it twice a year?
There's some that we may know right away to do,
Oh, okay.
but there's financial hardship, but we'll have to see how it goes under your new policy. The overall plan is not to have it ever get like this. This is something that the town's had as a receivable for 20-something years.
21 years.
21 years, so it's something that we knew we've needed to clean up for the last 4.
Is it normal to abate something that quickly, like just 2 years old?
Nancy, you want to try it, since I'm doing all the talking?
Under the statute, under Mass statute, you can't go back beyond 6 years to collect, so what you would be doing tonight would only clear up through 2007.
Right.
It would leave active 2008 forward, so that we can go through all the collection procedures. So the policy allows you to abate after 24 months
Okay.
collection, but realistically, we'll keep the receivable open so it can go through all phases of collection. As the chief explained it last time, it'll go through constors, multiple notices, then
Okay.
it'll go off to the deputy collector. And you want to give the deputy collector a reasonable time so that if someone's trying to renew a license that expires every 5 years and there's an ambulance bill, they find their way together and they can all get paid.
Okay.
And that's because I'm just reading the statute. It's a statute of limitations. So you get 6 years. It's a contractual issue, so bottom line is after that, you gotta wipe it out.
That's it. Okay.
Otherwise, you're just
All right.
collecting.
Perfect.
Motion.
Move to approve abatements of ambulance receivables totaling $126,461.17 as per the recommendation of the fire chief for the period covering September 18th, 1993 through August 15th, 2007.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you, Rick.
All right, moving on to discussion vote, White Ash Farm Open Space Development. Is Laura here for that, Tricia?
She was.
She's just here. Is the requester coming in or just Laura?
Probably Laura.
Okay.
All right, so what are we looking at here?
Appointments? No. One-day liquor license?
It's all right. Laura, come on over. We are on the White Ash Farm Open Space Development. And I understand that this is a development, it's a three-lot subdivision. Frankly, it's bigger than that because it's under the flexible open space bylaw that allows a little bit more, I don't want to say density, but would say, right? Some density with the homes, but at the same time allowing more open space. And the open space that the developer is looking to give is land that would benefit our watershed.
Right.
And so this was approved by the Board of Planning Board, and that in order for the individual contractor to go forward, our board, the Board of Selectmen, needs to accept the open space component in order for them to proceed, correct?
That's right.
All right. One question I had on this is, under the bylaw then, when somebody comes in under this provision for the flexible open space, the open space that's, in this case, it's wetland, has to be?
Not all of it.
Not all of it, but a portion, has to be given to the town? Is that
No,
what
it doesn't have to be, but the way the bylaw is written right now, it's really difficult for an applicant to do anything else with it. So I think we're looking at trying to make some changes in the bylaw to make it more, more flexible, if you will.
I say that because I'm like, it's like, again, what's the value of the land? For tax purposes, we're taking it off the tax rolls. Granted, maybe a small number, but why would we want to take land that's somewhat valueless or we can't do anything with it? Number one. Number two, why would we want to take it off the tax rolls? Okay. Number three, especially with the developers, because that's usually how it comes into play for the most part. They would have to set something up. They're going to make a benefit from it because in this case they have 3 lots. So that was one of the things that I had. And I guess the other thing I had was the ability for us to have a little bit more say, at least to some degree, because I think as a result, we really almost have to rubber stamp this. There's no doubt. The decisions are made by the planning board. We as a board have to accept it for conservation in perpetuity, right?
Well, not really. I mean, I think that's why the planning board is making a point of asking the developers to have some kind of discussion to make sure that you do want it on the town's behalf. And if you decide you don't, well, they're sort of up a creek, but there's nothing to say that they had to wait until the last minute to ask you. But I think we're going to set up more of a process where they come in near the beginning and talk to you about whether or not you want this land.
That
And
would
maybe
be
even
great.
before they come in to talk to us.
Excuse, that was not what this board was told when the Clap Road parcel came to them less than 2 months ago.
No, I know. That's because you and I have had some dialogue about
Okay,
it.
so that's a change in, all right, I just want to be clear that that's helpful, that's very helpful, because when the Clap Road came, we were told they had to accept it. And I assume we have to accept this parcel tonight, but going forward, we're working towards a broader dialogue. Is that fair assessment?
Yeah, well, I think in either
Okay.
case, you don't have to accept it. I mean, if you don't, the developer has to go back to square one,
I don't want to do that.
But,
I don't want to do that because it's not
practically
fair to the
speaking, it would be
developer
difficult.
comes in under the auspices or under the impression that that's the way it's been done, and now we're going to throw them into a tailspin, and that wouldn't be fair either. But I just think before anything gets approved, we as a board should know that, because I think, as I said in the past with other lands that have been donated to the town, it goes into conservation because it doesn't need town approval. That's an exception. But there are circumstances where it would have been nice if we as a board could say, the Board of Selectmen's going to take the property, because we might be able to do something with linkage, whether it's tacking it on for a bike path or tacking it on for this project or that project. We can't do that because it has to go to town meeting in order for
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen to accept it. So I think it would be very helpful for the board to at least have knowledge of what's going to happen in the future before it gets approved, and then we're almost have our hands tied to accept it. And so anyway, that was my my thoughts on this application, and so.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Other questions from anybody on the board? All right. I'd accept the motion if there, I'm sorry.
No, not right now. No, that's all right.
Questions? Motion? Or is there anybody who wants to speak? Mr. Hayes, could you identify yourself and address, please?
Michael Hayes, 43 Front Street. I'm the attorney for the developer, and I have draft deeds for the board.
Thank you.
Which I'll bring up, but, I mean, you're going to vote on this now?
I'm going to vote on it right now.
Okay. Well, it appears from what I've heard since I came in that you're going to approve it, so I think I'll keep my mouth shut.
I was going to say, the least said, the better sometimes, and that's exactly, thank you. Motion? Thank you.
Oh, 1 second there, John. I gotta find it. You have it, Marty?
I got it right here.
Move that the Board of Selectmen approves an, no, that's not
sorry.
it. I had that.
We don't have
That's the ambulance, we're going backwards.
I don't know if we have it in here.
Move to, how about a motion to move to accept the White Ash Farm open space development?
It's provided in the plan dated.
I don't have the plan. What's the plan?
The date.
There.
It's on the bottom.
Yeah.
February?
19th, 2013,
February 19th.
And is it endorsed
by
the-
Greg Morse Engineering. Did you get that, Lorraine?
Just for February what, 2013?
February 19th, 2013, as drawn by Morse Engineering.
Motion by Mr. Harris,
Second?
seconded by Mr. O'Toole. All in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Thank you on behalf of the developer, and we appreciate it.
Not a problem.
We appreciate you rearranging the schedule.
Thanks, Laura.
Not a problem. All right, moving on to the new business. We have a discussion, vote,
Sit down here.
one-day liquor license. And forgive me, I gotta get to my, where is it? That one. Is this it? The
Ellen McKenzie.
Ellen
McKenzie?
There. No? Oh,
Here,
okay.
we're approving this like we do the Santa Stroll.
Gotcha. All right.
And she's an approved caterer from before, correct? So just, we don't, familiar with the name? A motion? It's for a one-day beer and wine license at the Maritime Center on
Right.
July 12th, correct?
Correct. Motion as written.
All right. Okay, John? Move to grant Ellen McKenzie on a one-day beer and wine license on July 12th, 2014, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Scituate Maritime Center.
All right, motion by Mr. Harris, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. O'Toole, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, how about the second one? That's the silent chef?
Yep. No, okay.
Do a motion?
Yep, motion. Move to grant the Silent Chef a one-day beer and wine license on July 16, 2014, from 2:00 p.m. to 7:00 p.m. at the Scituate Harbor Community Building.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and the next one is a discussion vote, one-day outdoor entertainment permit for a surprise party. So, seeing that it's a surprise party, we're not saying.
That's what I'm wondering.
That's why it defeats the purpose for being a surprise, folks.
Just date and time.
Just the date. I'm looking at the,
Where is it?
and I'll be happy to disclose it after the date tonight. So where is it in the motion? Do we have it? Forgive me
It's
here, folks.
probably page 4, maybe?
No, it's way down.
Is it way down?
Actually, no, Marty, you're right. It was at the
No.
beginning.
Actually, it's in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's page-
7, maybe?
Page 7?
7, page 7. Here we go. Ready?
180, so you can get to it quick.
There it is. So, I need a motion that says
Motion.
vote to approve.
Vote to approve an outdoor entertainment permit for a surprise party
Second.
in July. What date?
Doesn't say.
Okay, from 8 to 10:30 PM in the harbor area.
That is correct.
Somewhere.
All right, motion by Mr. O'Toole.
Is that wide open then? Okay, we can all have it.
For
Is there a
anybody,
second?
apparently.
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay, and this is for an outdoor entertainment.
I'll act surprised.
All right.
The butters have been notified.
Actually, it's me, but.
All right. Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck with the surprise party. All right, moving on to the next is the discussion, vote Heritage Day stage setup. And
Do we have anything on
Where-
that?
where is it?
Do we have anything on that,
No,
Lorraine?
this was added to the agenda yesterday, and I think this is inadvertent on the, when you reviewed the, and approved the special events application for Heritage Days at your last meeting. I think the setup time was, it was in the application which the board approved,
Right.
starting, I believe, on a
Wednesday.
Wednesday
Wednesday at 6
evening.
p.m.
Wednesday,
Which
yes.
for Saturday concert really puts that area out of commission. And we had that discussion last year.
This year's worse.
And that happened, and wanted to make an effort to correct it this year, and inadvertently was reapproved again by the board. So since you voted already to approve the Heritage Days special events with the contingencies outlined by the staff, I would like the board to have a discussion about the Wednesday setup time, because I think it's a little too long and impacts the harbor, but that's the board's pleasure.
I think we, in case you don't know, or maybe you do it, the public may not, the carnival is right in front of Heritage Days, if I'm not mistaken. Correct? We all know that, right?
July.
It's the week, it's
Week
the week
before.
Yeah, they're
before, and it
week-
wasn't,
weekend
it
before.
wasn't the Knights of Columbus's intent, but their, the company that did it bailed on them at the last minute. They were scrambling, they found another provider they were comfortable with, and that person was only available on this date. So I think to Tricia's point, she raises a real good point. I mean, so the carnival moves out of town Saturday night, right? They're gone. Sunday morning, you never knew they were here. And then Wednesday, to have that entrance to the parking lot blocked.
isn't the carnival next week?
It could be, I forget. It's,
I think it is.
Another date, Lorraine?
your kids will know.
Following week.
Is it?
Oh, it's later this year? Usually it's around the.
Yes,
Oh,
it's
only
about a
about-
week later, and it's right before
17th and 18th is
Tuesday
Friday,
through,
Saturday, that's the night of the fireworks.
Tuesday through Saturday.
That's the end?
Yeah.
There's a week, there's a gap. There's a gap of a week, I think.
Between
It's the
what?
17th and 18th, then you got
That-
the
That's
week of the
Wednesday.
Heritage Days is. the-
It's very close, anyway. That was
It is.
their, that was
I
their
agree.
concern, and so,
I think plus with the piping and the
Well,
roadway
and plus
too,
the
it's
pier,
happening.
the pier renovation, you've got
That's huge.
you've got parking issues on Cole Park, you've got a lot more happening this year, and I,
lot of,
A lot of traffic.
right, a lot of disruptions, and
So what would the board prefer to see then, if that were a?
I'd say just, I wouldn't push it too far, he does need time for setup, but I think if you went Thursday at 6 PM, I think that would be fair to him as well as to everybody else.
He's got the whole day
It gives, if he has terrible weather on Thursday, he's still got Friday night, and everything to be ready for Saturday morning.
I would
But-
move it up a little earlier on Thursday, like maybe around 3, Marty.
In the afternoon, yeah.
So, because
What I was thinking, Tricia, was the deliveries and things that are coming in on Thursday to these places, if we did like, you thinking 3 o'clock?
the stage has to be actually built, and it gets a permit that has to be certified, so if there's inclement weather or whatever, he loses any time. I mean, I'm very comfortable with Thursday, but it also gets dark as well. So I think, my main concern is the 2 days on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. for the merchants there and the pedestrians and stuff.
So what time would you prefer, 3?
I would say 2 or 3.
On Thursday, not Wednesday.
Yeah, and that's probably good, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Jerry has the drop-off of materials, so I'm like, if you do it later in the afternoon, it kind of defeats the whole purpose, because nobody's going to be dropping the stuff off. If they can do it later in the afternoon, early afternoon, then that would enable him to get the stuff dropped off, and they can start working on it Thursday evening.
So we say 3 o'clock, that can be shut down then at that point? Then you
I was
have,
thinking earlier, yeah, I'm going to get you. Hang on. I see it. I was thinking more like 2 or 1. I know that sounds like that, half the business closes at 5 or 6. You get them down there by 2. I mean, all the deliveries are going to be in the morning on Thursday. So their expectation.
my question is, obviously, I was involved with Heritage Days, and on Saturday morning, they used to go down there, and it was a difficult task, and it used to be set up on Saturday morning to be ready to go by 10 o'clock a.m. on Saturday. So I can see the Thursday, given all-day Thursday, given the Thursday, all-day Friday, into Saturday morning. I'm fine with 2 or 3. I don't think you should make it any earlier in the day on Thursday.
Right.
Otherwise, just leave it alone.
Amber
We have
Vine.
First Friday as well.
Amber Vine, 10 Acres Road, co-chair of Heritage Days. I was under the impression it was Thursday, not Tuesday.
You thought it was Thursday?
I did.
Okay.
That could be my mistake. Who knows?
No, it's in the app. We missed it
Wait a minute.
last
Yeah, we
year
did.
because there was a,
She thought it was Thursday.
right.
Occasionally I do.
I was just going to say, Andy, say that again. Okay, fine.
At any rate, I really think 1 o'clock would be far better to get all of this rolling, ruffle fewer feathers, as it were, because, John, you know what we go through, because that's what we go through. And Marty, I can fully understand the idea of 3, but I think if we allow Jerry to start hammering away at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I think we'll all be a lot happier.
Well, actually, he'll be happy, but I don't think a lot of people in Situate will be happy, to be honest with you.
This is something that happens every single year and has happened for the last 40 years. And the other
Isn't
thing, too,
terrible.
with all due respect,
Yeah.
since we moved it off of Front Street, it's far less a travogi than it has ever been.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100% with that.
I really think that we all have to give a little to get a lot. So if we can give to 1 o'clock on Thursday, I think we'll be.
An hour or 2 is not gonna make that much difference. We're going from Wednesday to Thursday.
So it's 1 o'clock, it's not 11, right? It's 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Anything
need a-
else? I'm sorry, Sean.
No, do we have to make a motion on that?
Yes, you do.
Moved to amend the, is it, we did?
Approval of the special events application for Heritage Days for setup on Wednesday night to Thursday at 1.
1 p.m.
Yep.
All right. Did
And I'll
somebody say
second
that-
Marty's motion.
Somebody say that that's the motion they're
So
making?
moved.
So moved.
Motion I'm making.
So
So
moved,
moved.
Lorraine. And
Moved by.
I'll second.
Marty, seconded by Sean. Discussion, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Good. All right, moving on to the next agenda item, which is the vote the appointments. Now, I gotta go back to that cheat sheet you gave me, Lorraine. We're not doing CPC, but.
The only thing we're doing, I'd be happy to review.
Okay.
Please.
So you've all received a
What?
copy, with a sheet that looks like this.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's,
Yeah.
basically, it's on the second page, I think.
This is just one, this is just for tonight's meeting. So it would be your choice, your pleasure, if you wanted to nominate, assign Robin Glazier as assistant cultural counsel. Susan Graham just came in for an interview because we're not deciding CPC at this meeting, because we still have incoming applications from people.
Okay.
So it's not complete to vote on at this point.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if Kelly Kosher has come into the meeting at all. Okay, so she is not here. Again, Chris Roberts, we're not going to vote on the CPC. We do have 2 candidates for the Waterways Commission, that if it's your pleasure, you can vote on tonight for the one opening. One came on the June 24th meeting, and one came tonight on the July YA things, if you have a chance to speak to both of them. So you could choose one of those this evening if you would like.
Okay.
The next would be the Board of Health,
Okay.
that you could choose tonight if you'd like. Russell Clark has sent me an email and indicated that he is interested in reappointing, but he is absolutely fine since he has served for quite a long time.
Okay.
If you're interested in letting someone else serve, he has no concern with that at all. You did interview and meet Susan Scott Gallagher at the June 24th meeting, who was interested and certainly well qualified for the position of Board of Health. And then everything after that, John Miller has already come in, and maybe there is an additional opening on the Council on Aging. We would like to appoint John Miller tonight to become chief treasurer. And then everything else is being renewed.
Okay, so,
Individual appointments renewed.
Starting with waterways, is that what I heard? We can appoint?
we can start with the top one.
Yes.
The Situate Cultural
Oh.
Council, Robin Glazer.
Move to appoint Robin Glazier to the Scituate Cultural Council.
Motion by Sean.
Second.
Second by Marty, all in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, Robin, thank you. The next one is
Waterways.
the Waterways.
Move to appoint Michael Gibbons to the Waterways Commission
Second.
As a full member.
as a full member, I'm sorry.
Associate to full. Second.
Motion by Sean, seconded by Mr. O'Toole, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Move to
Congratulations.
appoint Susan Scott Gallagher to the Board of Health.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris, all in favor?
Aye. Move to
And
appoint.
thank you very much for Russell Clark, though, too.
Yes.
Right,
Service.
right.
Well done. Next one?
Move to appoint John Miller to the Council on Aging.
Second.
Didn't see. Motion by Sean, or Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole, all in favor?
Aye.
No, I'm just kidding. Now we just need individual motions for all these renewals.
Move to renew Donald Knapp's position as the Agent of Veterans Benefits.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole, all in favor?
Aye. Move to renew Paige Tobin's position on the Commission on Disabilities.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole, all in favor?
Aye.
Move to appoint Paul Murphy, renew as a fence viewer.
Motion by Mr. O'Toole,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Harris, all in favor? Aye.
Move to reappoint Neil Duggan to the Field Driver. Very important position.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
Move to reappoint Gary Banks to Logan Airport Advisory Committee.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris, all in favor?
Aye. Move to redo Al Bangert as the MBTA rep.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole, all in favor?
Aye.
Move to reappoint Joseph P. Norton Jr. to North River Commission.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
And move to renew Robert Flaherty's position as an alternate member to the North River Commission.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Move to renew Mary Santonino's position as the Assistant Town Accountant.
Motion by Mr. Harris,
Second.
seconded by Mr. O'Toole, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
And move to reappoint Al Bangert as a surveyor of lumber / measure of wood and bark.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole,
Somebody's so
all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Move to reappoint Colin McNeese to the Economic Development Committee.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Move to reappoint Monty Newman to the Economic Development Committee.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Last but not least, move to reappoint Dave Smith to the Recreation Commission.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris, all
Aye.
those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Could I just recognize the few names down here that people have served, and for different reasons, they have chosen to step down. First one was Larry Nyland. He was on the Waterways Commission. And, typically, we send a little letter to these people, okay? Dan Marks, am I pronouncing that correct, John? Do you know Dan?
Yes.
Daniel Marks on the EDC, Economic Development Committee, and Camille Wells on the CPC Committee. I think that's all of them, am I correct? Yes.
Well, good. That takes care of the appointments for now. We'll do appointments on the Community Preservation Commission at our next meeting in 2 weeks. But we also have to do appointment election workers for the Democratic, Republican, and supplemental. Supplemental. Lorraine, what's the supplemental?
That would be workers for the town clerk.
So, what do we need here? Do we need a motion to accept? We don't have to list all.
Do we have to name all of them, or?
Yes.
Yes, oh boy, okay.
So I do them all as one motion for the, just read it as presented
Wanna do the
for
Democrats?
the election workers.
Do I have to do both parties? I'll do it.
Yeah, well, I
Okay.
think you gotta do, starting,
With the Democratic Party.
is that what this is?
It's
Yeah.
on the top, so.
Start with the Democrats.
Teresa Duran?
Do I have to list, I don't have to list their
you have the
party
hard copy.
affiliation, do I?
No.
Like if they're unenrolled, or?
All right, so I think what you need to do is you need to go through their names.
Individual motion?
No.
So,
Just read all and as one motion?
We've gone through each and every one of these names in the past. I thought we did like one.
I don't remember doing them.
All right, Tricia, tell us what we need to do.
so you're going to make a motion to appoint election workers as approved by the Scituate Democratic Town Committee and just read their names, okay?
Okay.
There you go.
I'd like to
Make that motion.
make a motion to approve
Following.
the following
Election workers.
election workers appointed by the Scituate Democratic Town Committee. Jane Angland, Barbara Brosnan, Bernice Brown, Kevin Butler, Nancy Caleri, Judith Casulo, Carol Coffey, Anthony D'Onofrio, Margaret D'Onofrio, Florence Eli, Elizabeth Jerry, Richard Harding, David Hines, Perry Lewis, Jean Magner, Joanne McIntosh, Elizabeth Meisner, Heather Nugent, Linda Plowman, Donald Smart, and Marie Sullivan, and Ann White.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris. All in favor?
I'd like to make a motion to approve
Election workers.
election workers approved by the Town of Scituate Republican Town Warden, Jill Alabrandi, Dennis Baldori, Al Bonney, Carmen D. Bonney, Hope Crowell, Joan Drummond, Diane Duffin, Carol Fitzgibbon, Ella Francis, John Gallagher, Robert John Green, Dorothy L. Hancock, Stephen G. Huggard, Elizabeth Judge Schuchart, Edward Camp, Deirdre Kelly, Anita King, Paula Cosman, Peter D. Levitt, Camille Leonhardi, David Leonhardi, Karen Lyden, Patricia M. Malone, John T. Manning, Eduardo G. McIntosh, Carol R. Miles, Marla Minier, David Nellis.
Second.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry.
I'm
There's
sorry.
more. This is page 2 for the Republicans. So it's Joannis Nobor, Marilyn Ohala, Ronald Robertson, Emily Robinson, Carolyn Sonez, Mary Smith, Mary L. Smith, Harold E. Tuttle, Suzanne Tuttle, Kenny Walsh, Nick Waterman, Eleanor Waterman, Diane Wells, Karen Werner, Ethel K. Wheatley, Ronald B. Wheatley, Laurie A. Withrow, Deborah Young, Karen B. Werner.
I'll second that. Sorry.
Motion by Mr. O'Toole, seconded by Mr. Harris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. And finally, we have one more list.
Oh, election workers,
Supplemental.
supplementary, okay. So how would you like me to do this one?
Move to nominate the election workers.
Election
for the
work supplementary list.
Inspectors.
So I have a point of order there. Please make the motion and omit the name of Susan Frankel and Richard Judge.
Okay, let me just see. Richard Judge and Susan Franco. Okay,
Thank you.
very good. Okay, a motion to accept the supplementary list of election workers. Teresa Doran Lunny, Kim McGill, Priscilla Scott Pipes, Michelle Sherry, Gretchen Orenberger, Allison Short, Martha Cook, Doug Smith, Michelle Morrissey Smith, Judith Carroll, Suzanne Finelli, Kathleen Judge, Kathy McGowan, Florence Eli, Robert Chesia, Irene Murray, and Julie Chapman.
Second.
Motion
Quick
by
question.
Mr. O'Toole,
Quick question.
seconded by Mr. Harris. Discussion?
Yeah, just as a name that showed up on both lists, is that okay?
Yeah, I think it's just,
Okay.
these are just
All right, so-
extra supplementary.
Yeah, so
workers.
aye. Okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Good, that takes care of that, folks. There is a list on our agenda for liaison appointments or positions. Because we're missing two of our members tonight, we're going to postpone that until our next meeting. That's a time where we go and we all have various boards, committees, councils that we are liaisons to. So in order to be able to have everybody participate, we need a full board. So that's going to be continued until our next meeting. Moving over to our final category, other business, correspondence. Forgive me, do we have any?
I don't think we have no
Good.
correspondence. Okay.
All right,
Motion.
acceptance of minutes, please.
Move to accept the minutes of June 28th, 2014.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstained. I wasn't there. So actually, I shouldn't have even made the motion.
You know what, then,
So bump over to July 8th.
we
Yes.
kick that one over to the
I mean, 2022.
All right. Move the minutes of June 24th.
Motion by Mr. Harris,
Second?
second by Mr. O'Toole. All in favor?
Aye.
Now that is unanimous.
Yeah.
Good. Other business, gentlemen, Mr. O'Toole.
Actually, I was actually going to cover pretty much the job that they've been doing on the water. I mean, I've been hearing a lot of good things around town. Very, very few complaints. People are getting used to it in the harbor. You know, they've been working their tails off, and they are, like they said, they are trying to get it done by Heritage Days. That's not a guarantee, and we're gonna, hope for the best and expect that they may well not be done. But that's really all I have.
John?
Tricia, could you ask Kevin, and I thought of it, but it wasn't the right time earlier, maybe, and then ask someone in the Tree and Park Department, if you travel over Edward Foster Road, the bridge, and then you bear left to go to First Cliff, there's if you look to the left, there's a
Towards that-
lot of, I'm sorry?
Towards the Maritime Center?
Well, go towards the Maritime Center, but look left to the
Yeah.
in the Inner Harbor. Could you look into, I don't think that's conservation, I think it's a lot of weeds and stuff. Could that be trimmed down so at least people can see the
Line of
inner?
sight, yep.
Exact, not for safety, but for aesthetic reasons, to be honest with you. Someone had asked me that, and I said I'd look
And
into it.
we own that over by the bridge,
Yes.
on the
Yeah.
left-hand side.
And
Okay.
Frank Snow happened to be involved in the discussion, and he didn't think,
Okay.
it's just, we bought Pier 44 for, the views, and now if they had 19, whatever I don't know what the plants are, but they're, I don't think it's a wetlands. If you could trim it down, that'd be
Okay.
nice. That's all I had, Joe.
To be honest with you, that's I've actually, when you go down Kent Street, and possibility of trying to clear things out a little bit better, trees,
Kent?
Kent Street, just kind of like certain areas. I mean, it's just a discussion in the future, I think about beautifying, making certain gateways more aesthetically pleasing, trimming trees, you go down Kent Street on the right-hand side where the pond, the ice thing is, there's some chairs there, but they're all overgrown with some trees and stuff. But I'm just saying, that's something I think we should think about, The one that I actually, since Sean mentioned, was the one that's next to the yacht club on Jericho Road. The
Museum
bike path,
Beach.
Right before Museum Beach. It's actually there. There's some overgrowth that's coming into the, it's those doggone, they're almost like bamboo. I don't think they're phragmites. They're actually, I'm looking at Steve. Steve, what are they? They're like bamboo shoots. They're very invasive and they grow all over the place. But anyway, That's it for me.
That's all I had.
All right, nothing else for me. So, folks, we're going to move to adjourn in order to sign some documents. Take a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Harris, seconded by Mr. O'Toole. All in favor?
Aye.
Folks, good night. Thank you. See you in 2 weeks.